interesting times. This week's stories. In Hawaii, large wildfires in Maui burn out of control, forcing evacuations. In Canada, Vancouver gets a taste of gluten-free eating. In Los Angeles, California, E3 goes big with multiplayer mixed reality, gaming gear, and noble causes. Plus, for EBC Sports, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao talks strategy for his fight against Thurman. Hello everyone, I am Frendel Faharin bringing you stories from around the globe, and this is Eagle News Weekend Edition broadcasting from Seattle, Washington. In Hawaii, just last week, large wildfires erupted on the island of Maui, forcing residents and tourists to seek shelter or even leave the island. The blaze lasted into the weekend, and officials believe this could be the largest wildfire in Maui's history. Hawaii correspondent Mio Asenas gives us a recap.
Be careful, guys. There's a smoke right there. Brush fire by Waikea 5 mile stretch area. Okay, if you're traveling in that area, be careful. All right.
From what I heard, the fire started around 10:40 this morning in central Kahului. It's been really dry here lately. We haven't had much rain in the past, say, month and a half. And towards later in the afternoon, it started getting windy and the flames kept going, started spreading towards North Kihei, and then they decided to close the road going Kihei bound from Mukulele Highway around 2 o'clock. So all the traffic going to Kihei got diverted to South Kihei Road, and that backed up a lot of the drivers, everyone going home or going to work, to Lahaina.
Maui County's mayor then directed the opening of 3 facilities to serve as shelters. Around 1,000 people took shelter, including travelers whose flights were delayed due to the heavy smoke building up along the flight path for the most aircraft to and from the airport. Most of the evacuees either returned to their homes or resumed their travel the next day. On the following Friday, Hawaii Governor David Ige declared Maui as a disaster area and authorized emergency funds to support relief efforts. The governor also messaged Oprah Winfrey via Twitter, thanking the actress philanthropist for opening an access road within her Maui property to facilitate in the evacuation. Dexter Saldua described the overall situation on day 2 from his vantage point.
Traffic, though, has seemed a little better compared to yesterday, but there was a new fire that started in Pu'unene around 12:30 this afternoon, closer to the airport. Earlier, helicopters, rescuers, they responded trying to douse the fire by air mostly, while the other firefighters on the ground were trying to contain the rest of the first fire.
As of late Friday night, county officials estimated that the fires were between 70 to at least 80% contained. The Maui Fire Department resumed its mission on Saturday morning, dispatching 2 helicopters to drop water over the affected areas. Military units from the Hawaii Army National Guard and the U.S. Army's 25th Infantry Division provided additional support. For the moment, Maui County has not received any reports of casualties or injuries as a direct result of the wildfires. An investigation into the cause of the fires has also started. Reporting from Hawaii, I'm Mio Asenas, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Mio. Coming up, Vancouver gets a taste of gluten-free eating. E3 goes big with multiplayer mixed reality, gaming gear, and noble causes. Plus, for EBC Sports, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao talks strategy against his fight with Thurman. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Weekend Edition. I am Frendel Feheran. In Vancouver, Canada, food allergies can often mean big lifestyle changes for people. Eagle News correspondent Ann Solmerano looks at how a common food we eat is no longer part of some people's diets. Take a look.
Pain, discomfort, and inconvenience probably best sum up the life of someone who has an intolerance to gluten. These people cannot digest many of the foods most of us take for granted, such as bread, baked goods, and pasta. First, what is gluten? Gluten refers to the proteins found in wheat, rye, barley, as well as other grains. Folks with a sensitivity to this protein cannot digest it properly and have all kinds of abdominal discomfort. You've probably heard of the term gluten-free diet. These would be the foods people would be able to eat to manage their gluten sensitivity. A few weeks ago, a gluten-free expo was held in Vancouver to help people navigate their way through the management of their disorder. The two-day event featured lectures given by 6 dietitians, as well as displays of gluten-free products. Attendees were given advice on how to prepare gluten-free meals, where to find budget-friendly products, and how gluten affects the brain and the way a person feels. Interest in gluten-free diets appears to be on the rise. According to the scientific journal Epidemiology, although less than 1% of the population cannot handle gluten, in the United States, an estimated 25% of Americans reported consuming gluten-free food in 2015. That's a 2/3 increase from 2 years earlier, and that's what's prompted mainstream food processors such as Kellogg's and General Mills to cash in and offer gluten-free versions of some of their popular products. From Vancouver, Canada, I'm Ann Solmerano, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Anne. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, E3 is one, if not the most popular gaming conventions in the world. And getting the most out of it takes more than a day. That's why our EBC Los Angeles Bureau was there for several days. This time, our team experiences a multiplayer mixed reality world, checks out cool and practical gaming gear and clothing. And of course, there were the video games. Alan and Ava Basalahe with the report.
Our second day at the Electronic Entertainment Expo in Los Angeles, California sees our team pleasantly plodding through exhibits that you may not necessarily expect to find at a video game convention. Alan, where are we going?
We are going to take a stroll through a garden, but because it's E3, this garden tour ought to be unreal. Oh, and we'll also check out some games today too, which should also be unreal.
The Unreal Garden is a true mixed reality experience. It basically blends the physical, sound, projections, haptics, and augmented reality. So it's the first ever multiplayer, mass consumer location-based AR experience that exists today. So the idea is that you can have up to 40 people in experience, and the interactivity is shared across the board, so you see what everyone else does and everyone sees what you do. But what's even more beautiful is that if you bring people together to actually engage on certain areas with you, then the content becomes even more exceptional. It really is a magical world, so once you put it in the headset, you're going to see everything from flora and fauna from different dimensions, as well as interactive activation points and some incredible projections that are activated once you connect with the AR.
The bag that I'd really like to talk to you guys about today is our core gaming backpack. It could be the traditional person going into work with a looks like a conservative backpack, but at a moment's notice, let me go ahead and brag about what I'm doing here. It's designed right here to put a power pack inside of it with a USB connection 3.0 that could come out onto a side port. Here's a place for an iPad. Put a console inside of here, Xbox One, a PS4. Completely opens. We call this the scan fast feature, helping you move through airport security. Put a full keyboard inside. Plug it into your laptop and be charging your laptop as you're walking around. A rain cover that's politely tucked neatly shock absorbing straps on it. And we made sure when you're picking that thing up, extra bolts and rivets on there, make it sturdy as can be.
We all really love video games, and we all love science fiction and fantasy and things like that. And when we're playing those games, we kind of imagine ourselves as those characters, right? We want to be those characters. And so what we do is we make streetwear that will help you feel that way and be that superhero or supervillain every day. This is Dante's coat from Devil May Cry. And I can say that because we actually work directly with Capcom on this one. So this is the designers at Capcom signing off on this jacket and saying if Dante was a real guy, this is the jacket he would wear. And this is not a costume. This is a more subtle, a little more elegant, and a little more functional version of what you see in the video game, inspired directly by that game. So it's our version of what he's wearing in that game.
With an abundance of games to try out, we decided to focus day 2 on racing games.
We have 3 major improvements on the games this year. The first is the car behavior. We have totally shifted to the simulation side. The second is the integration of the dynamic weather. So you can start to race under the sun and finish under the rain. So you have to develop a strategy. And the third big point of the game is the career mode. Totally new. We developed it from scratch. And the goal now is to say you can win the race outside of the race. So you're a driver and a manager, and you are in a sports team.
The LEGO Speed Champions expansion is the second major expansion for the game Forza Horizon 4, which came out last fall. This is the second expansion. If you love LEGO, and if you love cars, and you like playing Forza, it's like a perfect marriage. It's really, I mean, both Horizon and LEGO both celebrate freedom and fun and discovery, and to have the two of them together is just a perfect pairing. And after they play it, they get to sit in this amazing McLaren Senna, which is made out of nearly 500,000 Lego bricks. Lego and McLaren teamed up to build this car. It took a team nearly 6 months to build, and nearly 500,000 Lego bricks. And it's the first sort of interactive one that they've done, where people can get inside and press some buttons and hear the engine. It doesn't really have an engine, but it sounds cool.
This was the first E3 experience for some gamers, and the ones we met with were happy to finally make it to the big show.
Most people, they love video games, so everybody's like connecting, enjoying themselves, and I think it's like a Disney World for gamers.
Borderlands 3 was by far my favorite. Nintendo, the whole everything, Luigi's Mansion. This is my first E3 physically coming here. I usually watch it on the internet, but I mean, I've had a blast.
I'm really excited. I can't wait to see some of these games come out. I already know my bank account's going to be a little unhappy with me in a couple months here, but really excited, really happy, and glad that I got to experience this event.
Completing our exploration for the day were scenes that piques the curiosity and tugs at the heart.
Extra Life is a way for gamers to play games and raise money for their local children's hospital. Extra Life was inspired by the life of a young girl whose life was taken from leukemia. Her name was Tori Edmond, and she inspired this program. Gaming is used in many of our hospitals to give that escape and even that distraction during surgery or during recovery. Boston Children's Hospital is one of our hospitals. I know that they do that. They have VR experience, so while the kids are undergoing surgery, they can experience gaming and actually have a faster recovery rate and have less pain and impact due to those surgeries overall.
All right, now, Lou, when the attendees walking through those doors, maybe not the first thing they'll see about your particular setup here is the good cause. Probably the first thing they'll see is that incredible human claw machine over there.
So when you're at E3, you gotta go big, or else no one's gonna notice you. And so we teamed up with GameStop and a huge list of amazing sponsors to provide an experience for the E3 attendees, where we can inspire these attendees to become participants to raise funds for their local hospital by strapping them into a harness and literally lowering them into a pit filled with boxes. And there's prizes that they can redeem in each one of those boxes, provided by GameStop and a whole list of amazing sponsors, all in the name for awareness and advocacy for the health of children across North America.
While the video game industry continues to prove that it is the future, when it comes to sick children, Hopefully someday that will be a thing of the past.
With the efforts of organizations like Children's Miracle Network and their partners, a union of video gaming and healthcare might be the perfect combo in healing more than just a broken body. Reporting from the Los Angeles Convention Center at E3,
Day 2.
This is Eva and Alan for Eagle News, and we are 1 with 25.
Thanks, Alan and Eva. When we come back, for EBC Sports, Manny Pacquiao talks strategy against his fight with Thurman. Eagle News Weekend Edition will return shortly. This is Eagle News Weekend Edition. I am Frendel Feheran. As Manny Pacquiao was preparing for his fight against Keith Thurman, he shares with Eagle News what he does in and out of the ring to get ready. Eagle News correspondent Alan Basalaje got up close to the champ. Take a look.
Before the big showdown between Manny Pacquiao and Keith one-time Thurman at the MGM Grand Las Vegas, Media Day for Pacquiao once again takes place at the Wildcard Boxing Club in Hollywood, California. Now, to give viewers a taste of how a pro boxer trains, I've volunteered to undergo Pacquiao's rigorous training regimen. Well, at least one aspect of it. So, will we be working the heavy bag? Shadow boxing? Or maybe grabbing lunch at Nat's Thai Food, where Pacquiao is known to regularly dine at when he trains in LA. You'll want to wait till the end of the report to find out, and you might be surprised at what I choose. Trainers and team members arrived ahead of Pacquiao to answer questions from the media.
You know, it's an honor to work with such a legendary champion, an all-timer like Keith Thurman is one time, Manny Pacquiao is all time. What was intimidating was my drive over here because I didn't know if I had the job or not, and I had a meeting with Freddie and Sean and Manny, but you know, Manny made me feel really comfortable. The whole team has brought me in to the Pacquiao family. What all-time athletes, what all-time fighters do is they get up for big events. You can just look at his body and you can just tell he's ready to go.
If Manny wants to stop Keith Thurman, Manny's well and truly has the ability to stop Keith Thurman. He's in great shape. He'll peak right on out of the fight. He's extremely determined. So, you know, it's totally up to Pacquiao whether he wants to stop. We haven't seen this determined to beat an opponent for a long time. We train differently for each fighter. So obviously with this training we've done a lot more different stuff for Keith. A lot more leg work, a lot more agility, more lateral movement work. And for Pacquiao, after 70 fights, there's not much you're going to be able to show him. You can correct a few things he's doing wrong, maybe, or correct a few mistakes, maybe. But he needs to be in supreme condition to do what he actually does in the ring. And he will be, and he always is.
If this fight goes the distance, what do you anticipate to see from Thurman in the later rounds?
I like Pacquiao in the later rounds because that's where he usually excels. And Thurman, to me, he starts especially in his last three fight, he starts out quickly and starts fading as the fight goes on.
Are you able to anticipate when Thurman loads up for a power shot, will Manny's quickness allow him to evade and counter?
I think so at this point, you know, because he does power with his left hand and then he goes with a big overhand right. And that's like, that was one of his favorite moves at one time. But the left hook seems that has taken over in the last fight. And I just don't think he's as much as he was at one time.
What kind of trouble will your opponent be in if Manny starts hitting those, landing those hard hits combined with his volume punching?
Well, if these people get out of the ring pretty soon, you'll see it. He's a good puncher. He's great. His speed's unbelievable. Not just his hand speed, his foot speed. And Manny's a very complete fighter. He depends on me to watch tape, to come up with a game plan. And then we sit down and talk, and because Manny gets really bored watching TV. Like someone asked him, "Do you watch TV?" He doesn't watch it. He's too active. That's too slow for him. He'd rather be out playing basketball. He likes darts and he's good at darts. Yes, he did lose to Ricky Hatton in the last throw though. But that was a while ago. But he won the fight though.
Next, it was time for the main event of Media Day to enter the ring. We asked Manny Pacquiao what are some of his opponent's strengths that he has to be prepared for on July 20.
Well, his left hook and right hook, he loves to throw that, and then we have to be very, very careful on that. And then I think with my fastest footwork, fastest hands, I can overpower that and move around like that and be aggressive. He's throwing punches outside, so I'm throwing punches inside.
How have your beliefs guided you inside and even outside the ring?
Oh, I have faith to God that He will protect me, and not only me, but even my opponent also, and the fighters that are going to fight on that night. Praying to God that will bless us and protect us all.
Will there be karaoke after the fight?
Celebration.
A bona fide superstar and 8th division champ, Manny Pacquiao has certainly earned the right to hang up his gloves. But even after all his accomplishments, the Pac-Man's passion for the sport hasn't diminished. And on July 20, he aims to pit his experience, conditioning, and will against a tough opponent in Keith Thurman, and to prove once more that he deserves to stand toe-to-toe with the boxing world's finest. Reporting from Hollywood, California, I'm Alan Basolyahe for Eagle News, and I'm 1 with 25. Taste like I'm gonna need more training.
Pacquiao and Thurman's fight happens tonight. Stay tuned to EBC Sports International for some event highlights and fan reactions from Las Vegas. That is today's Eagle News Weekend edition. Join us again next week for stories from our bureaus across the nation and around the globe. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNews and on Facebook at facebook.com/Eagle News. Thank you for watching. I am Frendel Faharin and I am 1 with 25.